been a confidence kind of either booster or buster like it is for Shelley?
I just feel I'm so new at this. So, I mean, this just feels like the first thing I've ever done. So I feel like this is the beginning of my career. I kind of blanked out of whatever happened before. I'll use what I can of it. I have a beautiful, messy life. You know, it's good to draw from. But no, but this was really special. I really loved that scene. It was really nice to kind of confront him, you know, with my age and my background and my credentials and just my resume. And I feel like you don't have to really. You can just feel it. You can feel everything a woman is when you look at her. You don't need her resume. You don't need. I don't know. I just feel like the fascination with Vegas too is the, what's holding up the rhinestones in the costume. I mean, these women are all complex beings that have families and have, lives and ex-husbands or husbands and dreams, and maybe they were ballerinas when they were young and they never got to be, this great. They had a different, maybe they got too tall, maybe they just didn't make it. I mean, it's a tough world. And so to be in Vegas is like a land of dreams, or almost dreams. And I just think it was such a special character to play. It had just so much going on there, and I got to be able to use like a lot of my life experience, and it was such a vulnerable character to play. And yes, of course, when you're out on stage and you're rehearsing, and you're what do you call it? Yeah, auditioning. It's the word. I mean, it's the hardest thing in the world. You really have to throw yourself out there and be vulnerable, and rejection is part of this business. But I think that when people hit those crossroads of like, what am I going to do? What interesting place to explore for all of us. Wanted defined by her relationship, right, or her circumstances, and what she wanted to be defined by what she does. I feel the same, and being a mom and raising two boys in this life. I mean, when you're raising you have a baby, and you're like, oh, this is really fun, and you're doing this, and you have this kind of a little bit of a centralized image, and your kids are watching you in this industry. And I've had to beg for forgiveness to my sons, my adult children. We all will. And that scene with Billy was so wonderful. And it was our first scene together too, so that was a big scene for us to do. But she brought a lot of her experience and her mom and her grandma into that scene. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what I'm talking about anymore, but I'm really happy to be here.
So let's start where we ended with the end credit song sung by Miley. How did you guys, I know, right? How did you guys collaborate to get that song into the film?
Well, Andrew Wyatt, our composer, has worked with Miley in the past, and I really wanted an original song for the end sequence, and it really just came in the 11th hour. I didn't really know if I was going to get it or not, and I was sort of panicking, and I don't have a final song for the end of the movie, which is so important. But then all of a sudden, my text messages, he's like, here you go. And I was like, it's amazing.
It is amazing. Thank you for sharing.
So, when I was in grad school in New York, and I had gone to Vegas, and I saw Jubilee, and I was really fascinated by the women that were in that show, and how long they had been performing in that show, and that show really looked like it was not long for this world, unfortunately, but it was a fascinating world that I was excited to dive into. And then Gia got I gave you the play after my husband, who's Gia's cousin, said, you guys both love Vegas, you should read her play about Las Vegas showgirls. And then to us, like, it definitely seems very precious. The human form, it's not really, and it is all this glitz and glamour, but it isn't there. It's not, when you go see a show with 85 naked breasts on stage, you think it's gonna be sexy, but then it's not. It's like not as sexy as you think it's gonna be. But it is, it's just very like, they're really, it's a different kind of thing than burlesque, than stripping, and showgirls are very much like, this is not burlesque, this is not stripping, this is an art form that comes from France, and it is very holy.
This was the camaraderie, not just with the actors, but this entire crew. It was a very small crew. We shot the movie in 18 days. Most of us were living at the Rio, watching all of these women that I came to respect respect and love and admire so much. Like watching Pam come to set every day, be so focused and just putting everything into every line that came out of her mouth, every movement was so admirable. And moments where she was scared and vulnerable but did it anyway, I was just like, this is something that I will take with me forever. Watching Gia, who is so soft-spoken, but walk onto a set and have such a clear, strong vision every single day. Kate, who was literally the life of the set. It was like moments like this that like just brought us together so quickly, because we did start with all the Showgirl stuff, and the hardest things in the dressing room was we were wearing like archival Bob Mackie pieces, the original costumes from the Jubilee that hadn't left the theater in 30 years. Like we had been taking them on and off for years, and I think that was it. Like we really bonded over that. Like Pam invited us. The story that Kate wrote really just resonated with me because I was a new mom, and I sat down and we were talking to Gia, and just reading the story about 4 different generations of women who were all doing the same thing. I'm always fascinated by like what brings people, like what makes people do what, and why are they all here in this room at the same time? What brought them all here? And it was just such a beautiful story that I hadn't seen quite told this way, the struggle of being a woman. In the most glamorous fashion, a place where people think it's the most glamorous, but people forget that Vegas is more than just the Strip. People have to go grocery shopping. Like that was the most jarring thing for me, was going grocery shopping in Vegas. I was like, this is weird. And for me, what I think I took away and I learned so much was Gia really pushed at me outside of my comfort zone to stop worrying about, you know, all of my insecurities and everything. That's one of the things that Pam really inspired Kieran and I when we weren't in Showgirl makeup. We weren't wearing makeup, not no makeup, but like no makeup. And I've been doing this for 30 something years, and I'd never done that. And that was sounds really small, but it was really jarring and scary to go in front of the camera, really just bare. And Gia's really good at pushing you out of your comfort zone, but also in a place where you feel really safe. And for me, it just really, this whole project really just reinvigorated my passion for the art of filmmaking, because we did shoot on film, and there was something so beautiful about it because we knew we only had finite takes. So I hadn't had that shot of adrenaline like right before Gia was gonna call action, because I was like, we have 30 minutes before people are gonna actually use our sets, because we were filming actually backstage. Okay, we're shooting on film. We've got like 3 takes. All right, let's go. There was something so incredibly like empowering about that, and freeing. And it was so lovely because really, if we were working on a scene, it was really just between Kate, Gia, and the cast. That was it. And it was just such a beautiful artistic experience that for me, I walked away just being like, and working with these incredible women. I was like, I'm so fortunate that this is what I get to do, working with these kinds of women, telling these kinds of stories, and it just really reinvigorated my passion for, you know, what we get to do every day.
Girl, you got me with
His performance. I thought this might be the only movie I'm ever going to be able to do, so I'm just going to put everything into this, and it was such a gift, and to work with Gia and her she's such a great actress director, and you know, and Kate being right there. We were just in this together, and the words are really important. There wasn't, you know, any improv or anything like that. Well, one little thing, we won't talk about that.